Hiya, folks. I wanted to get this out to you. Rather than to write it up in my blog, I wanted to go the video route because I can explain it a little bit better. You know, trees, vegetation of all sorts is basically a combination of tracking and the sacred question. The question, what happened here? What is this teaching me? And in winter, when, of course, the summer cloak of leaves are shed, you get to look at trees, and it's not just limited to trees, it's plants of all sorts. Um, Grandfather Rick and I used to spend hours tracking a tree. You figure that every bud, every twig, every branch, every trunk of a tree or stem of a bush is a story. In other words, the growth, the way it twists and turns and takes different angles, is telling you about past water conditions, sunlight, diseases, forest fires, um, soil conditions. I mean, it's just endless. I remember the first time Grandfather had us tree tracking, we were all laying on our backs looking up at this magnificent old pine. And she had some really tight and squirrely bends in some of the lower branches. And we realized that Grandfather knew it, of course, right away, that the the major bend in the big limb was caused when another tree fell on that limb and was supported by it for ages until it finally came down and the tree finished its growth upward. But it's fascinating just to look at that kaleidoscope of the trees, of the bushes, and what they're telling you. Yeah, certainly you can do this in the summer, spring, and fall, but in the winter, that's when it's really laid bare. And you can see the influence of other trees, and it begs the sacred question. Like, for instance, those of you who are familiar with the primitive camp, we have the world-class Neanderthal gym, which is collected from weights that people throw out, benches, workout equipment. If you notice that almost in a circle around that area are pines that are all equal height, and the stems are fairly straight, but the lower branches, which are now pretty much all dead, all radiate outward from the center of that workout facility. That's a stretch of the imagination. But anyway, and suddenly you get up to about 20 feet and all of them crown out. They have branches all the way around. And that tells you that in the center was a giant pine tree that gave birth to these little ones. But because of the way it was situated, they had to reach outward from the parent tree in order to survive. And then when that tree finally fell, they crowned out. That's the stories. And literally, we could spend hours. It's a great thing to, get out there with your kids and say to them, what is that limb telling you? And they'll look at you like, what do you mean? Well, why is it bent like that? And that gets to expand their thinking, not just to that little limb or that branch or twig or whatever, but everything around it. Oh, that tree there is cutting off the sunlight in the growth season. And it's really a great way to teach the sacred question, is where you ask, what happened here? Why is this doing this? Is it water? Is it soil? Is it interference from other trees? Is it wind, storms? but it's so exciting that you get in trouble for laying on the ground too long, staring up, so to speak. But it can be consuming. I remember this one tree we went back to, I don't know how many times. Many of you know it. It's by the Napping Pit. It's the Vision Tree. And that has so many stories in it. Rick and grandfather and I would go back there week after week and learn something new. It was just absolutely amazing. Enjoy it.